Rain always made Emily's little coffee shop feel like a movie scene. The smell of roasted beans, the sound of jazz, the tiny bell that chimed every time someone walked in. This was her world. Small, ordinary, but hers. That morning, a man walked in who didn't belong to her world. Tall, sharp suit, expensive watch, eyes the color of a storm. He looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine, or a dream she wasn't supposed to have. He hesitated at the counter. "Large cappuccino," he said, his voice calm but low, with an accent she couldn't quite place. Emily smiled, that professional smile she gave to all her customers. "One cappuccino coming up," she said. "Do you want sugar?" He shook his head. "Sweet enough, I think." She almost rolled her eyes. Another flirt. But as the days passed, he kept coming back. Every morning. Same order. Same seat. Same quiet smile. He didn't talk much, just sat near the window, laptop open, eyes sometimes lost in thought. Sometimes she caught him watching her, not in a creepy way, but like he was studying something rare. After 2 weeks, curiosity won. "So, mystery man," Emily said one morning, "you've been drinking my coffee for days. Don't you have your own espresso machine at home?" He looked up, amused. "Maybe I like yours better." "Flattery won't get you a discount," she said, grinning. He chuckled, and in that small laugh, something softened in him. "Name's Alex," he said, offering his hand. "Emily." That was the start. Over the next few weeks, they talked about books, music, travel. He told her he worked in business, though he never said what kind. She told him about her dream of turning the tiny cafe into a small chain someday. "You'll do it," he said one evening as they closed up. "You have the kind of fire people notice." Emily blushed. "Fire doesn't pay rent." "Maybe not," he said quietly, "but it builds worlds." Something in the way he said it made her chest tighten. That night, she dreamed of him. What she didn't know, what no one knew, was that Alex wasn't just another customer. His real name was Alexander Carter, CEO of Carter Holdings, one of the biggest investment firms in New York. Billionaire, media magnate, and he was hiding here in her small town for reasons even he wasn't ready to face. He didn't want anyone to know who he was. Not after the scandal, not after the headlines that painted him as a heartless tycoon. He just wanted to disappear, and in Emily's cafe, he found peace. But peace never lasts long. Two Hearts Part 2, Truths and Half-Lies. By now, they'd become inseparable. Alex helped her fix the old coffee grinder, painted the cafe walls with her, even started learning how to make latte art. He laughed more, lived more, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel like the world's expectations were crushing him. One evening, after closing time, they sat on the counter sharing pastries and secrets. Emily confessed, "I used to be engaged. He left when he found out I couldn't afford to move with him to the city." Alex looked down. "He's an idiot." She smiled sadly. "Maybe. Or maybe he just wanted a different life." She looked at Alex then, at his tailored shirt and polished shoes. "You're not from here, are you?" He froze. "Why do you say that?" "Your watch probably costs more than my rent," she said, laughing. "But that's okay. You don't have to tell me everything." He forced a smile, but guilt twisted in his chest. Later that night, Alex stood outside her cafe, rain falling softly. He stared at the sign. Emily's place, glowing warm in the dark. He wanted to tell her everything. That he wasn't Alex, the quiet businessman. He was Alexander Carter, the man with a penthouse, a jet, and a name people whispered in boardrooms. But he couldn't. Not yet. He wanted her to love him, not his money. A week later, Emily got an unexpected visitor, Clara, her best friend who worked as a junior analyst in New York. When Clara saw Alex at the cafe, her jaw dropped. "Emily," she whispered later, "do you know who that is?" Emily frowned. "Of course I do. It's Alex." "No, girl. That's Alexander Carter. The Alexander Carter. Billionaire. The one who bought half of Manhattan." Emily laughed, thinking it was a joke, until Clara showed her a photo on her phone. Her heart stopped. It was him. That evening, when Alex came by, she didn't smile. "So, Alexander Carter," she said quietly. He froze. I wanted to tell you. When, she interrupted. After I looked stupid enough to fall for your lies? Her voice broke, but she kept it steady. You came here pretending to be someone else.
Why?
Some kind of experiment. He took a step closer.
No.
I came here to breathe.
To be human again.
Emily, you were the first person who saw me, not my name. But it was a lie, she said, eyes shining with tears. He didn't argue. He couldn't. When he left that night, the cafe bell jingled, soft, final, heartbreaking. And Emily's world went silent. Two Hearts Part 3, Love Without a Price Tag. Weeks passed. The cafe felt emptier, even when it was full. Emily threw herself into work. New menu, new promotions. Anything to forget the man who made her believe in fairy tales. One afternoon, a black car stopped outside. She didn't look up until a man's voice said, "Still serving the best coffee in town?" Her breath caught. He stood there in jeans and a hoodie this time, no suit, no armor. Just Alex. "What are you doing here?" she asked coldly. "I wanted to make things right." He handed her a brown envelope. "I bought this for you." "I don't want your money, Alex." "It's not money," he said softly. "It's the deed to this cafe. It's yours now, free. You've earned more than I ever could." She stared at him. "Why would you do that?" "Because I don't want you to think love has a price." He took a deep breath. "I sold my company. Moved here. No assistants, no headlines. Just me. Because somewhere between your coffee and your smile, I found something real." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "You could have told me the truth." "I know," he whispered. "But I was afraid the truth would make me lose you. Turns out, lying did that anyway." She looked at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she walked around the counter and hugged him, tightly, wordlessly. The customers clapped when they kissed. Someone shouted, "About time." Months later, Emily's place had two new signs. Hot beverage, now under new management. Sparkling heart love served daily. The days after Alex met Emily were some of the happiest he'd had in years. He hadn't felt that light, that free, since before his name started appearing in glossy business magazines. He would arrive early at Emily's place, help her set up chairs, wipe down tables, and sneak glances at her while she tied her apron and hummed along to old love songs. He liked the way she smiled at customers, the way she spoke to the old man who came every morning for black coffee, the way her laugh could turn a rainy day bright. But behind every smile of his was a secret. Emily didn't know who he truly was. Not the billionaire Alex Carter, who had entire news networks following his company's every move, but the man who had run away from that world. He told himself he'd reveal the truth soon, but every time he saw her eyes light up when she said his name, he couldn't. Not yet. One Thursday morning, Emily was wiping down the counter when she noticed Alex sitting at his usual corner table, staring at his laptop screen with a worried look. He'd been distracted lately, taking mysterious phone calls outside, checking messages that seemed to drain the color from his face. "Everything okay?" she asked. He looked up quickly, forcing a smile.
"Yeah.
Just work stuff." "You said you were between jobs," she teased. "I am," he said, looking away. The lie tasted bitter. That night, when he went home to his rented apartment, he stared at his reflection in the mirror. "Who are you anymore, Alex?" He had walked away from Carter Holdings 3 months ago after a public scandal. His company had been accused of unethical acquisitions. He'd been innocent, but the world loved tearing down a billionaire more than believing one. So he disappeared. No bodyguards, no luxury, no press, just Alex, the quiet stranger who fell for the girl behind the counter. A week later, Emily's best friend, Clara, visited from New York. Clara was all energy and curiosity, the type who noticed everything. The moment she saw Alex sitting in the cafe, she froze. "Emily," she whispered urgently, "do you know who that is?" Emily laughed. "Yeah, that's Alex. My friend." "Your friend?" Clara blinked. "That's Alexander Carter." The Alexander Carter, billionaire investor, Carter Holdings, the guy who vanished from the news after that scandal. Emily frowned, thinking Clara was joking, until she pulled out her phone and showed her a photo. Alex in a suit, stepping out of a black car, surrounded by cameras. The same eyes, the same face, the same man. Emily felt her stomach twist. The floor seemed to tilt under her feet. That evening, when Alex walked in like he always did, she didn't greet him with a smile. She just stood there, arms crossed, ice cold. "So," she said quietly, "should I call you Alex or Mr. Carter?" His breath caught. "Emily."
No, please. Tell me.
"Which one's the real you?" He tried to reach for her hand, but she pulled away. "You lied to me. Every single day. You made me believe you were just a normal guy. Was this a game? Were you bored, playing small-town life for fun?" "It wasn't like that," he said, his voice shaking. "I was tired, Emily. Tired of pretending to be someone powerful when I didn't even feel human anymore. When I met you, it was the first time I could just be me." She shook her head. "You could have told me the truth." "I was going to," he whispered. "But I didn't want you to see me differently." Her eyes filled with tears. "You think I care about your money? I cared about you. But I don't even know who that is anymore." Alex's chest tightened. "I'm sorry." "Yeah," she said softly. "Me too." When he left that night, the bell above the door rang one last time, and it felt like goodbye. The next few weeks were slow torture. Emily stopped playing music in the cafe. The mornings felt colder, the coffee bitter. She threw herself into work, telling herself she didn't miss him. But she did. Every time someone ordered a cappuccino without sugar, her heart clenched. Alex stayed away. He thought about her every day, watched the cafe from across the street a few times, but never went inside. He didn't deserve her forgiveness, not after what he'd done. Then one morning, a news headline caught her eye on her phone. "Alexander Carter steps down. Billionaire leaves empire behind." She read the article twice. He had sold his entire company, given most of his fortune to charity, and disappeared again. Her hands trembled as she whispered, "Why would he do that?" She didn't have an answer, but she couldn't stop thinking about him. One evening, a soft knock echoed on the cafe door after closing time. Emily looked up, frowning. The rain was falling hard outside. When she opened the door, he was there, soaked, holding a single white rose. "Hi," he said quietly. She stared at him. "What are you doing here?" "I needed to see you," he said. "To tell you I'm sorry, not just for lying, but for being afraid." She folded her arms. "You think one apology can fix everything?" "No," he said. "But I can try to earn your trust, one coffee at a time." Despite herself, she smiled faintly. "You really think it's that easy?" "No," he said, stepping closer. "But I'm done running from what's real." The cafe was silent except for the rain against the windows. For the first time, Alex wasn't the billionaire or the stranger, just a man, honest and broken in front of her. The morning after Alex showed up at her door, Emily barely slept. Every memory of him, every smile, every laugh, every stolen glance, came rushing back like waves she couldn't hold back anymore. For days, she told herself she didn't want him back, that what they had was built on lies. But deep down, she knew the truth. It wasn't a lie. It was just unfinished. 2 weeks passed. No calls. No messages. Just silence. Then one evening, while Emily was wiping down the counter, a black envelope slipped under the cafe door. Her name was written in neat, familiar handwriting. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a single note. "Meet me at the pier tomorrow at sunset. One last coffee." Her heart pounded. She wanted to ignore it. She wanted to forget him. But she also wanted answers. The next day, the sky was painted in gold and pink. The ocean shimmered as the sun sank low. Emily walked down the pier, her hair blowing in the wind, her heart racing with every step. Alex was already there. No suit, no watch, no luxury, just jeans, a gray sweater, and the same calm, gentle smile she had fallen for months ago. He held 2 paper cups of coffee. "One cappuccino, no sugar," he said softly, offering one. She took it, her fingers brushed his, and for a moment, the world stilled. "Why did you ask me to come?" she finally asked. He looked out at the horizon. Because I owe you the truth. All of it. He told her everything about the company, the scandal, the betrayal by his own board, and the day he walked out of that world with nothing but a suitcase. I was angry, Emily, he said quietly. Everyone around me wanted something, money, power, headlines. But then I met you. You wanted nothing from me. You just cared. And I didn't know how to tell you the truth without losing that. She listened in silence, the waves crashing below. So you sold everything? She asked. He nodded. Most of it. I kept one thing though. He pulled out a small folded document from his jacket. The cafe. She blinked. What? I bought Emily's place before I left. Not for me, for you. It's yours now.
Free.
You built that dream with your own hands. I just wanted to make sure you'd never lose it. Tears filled her eyes. Why would you do that? He smiled faintly. Because you gave me something no one else did, a reason to feel alive again. And that's worth more than anything I've ever owned. For a long moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the wind, soft and forgiving. Then she asked, what happens now? I don't know, he said honestly. I'm not a billionaire anymore. I don't have mansions or jets or meetings. All I have is a heart that still belongs to you. Emily stared at him, the man who had once been larger than life, now standing before her as just a man, vulnerable and real. She stepped closer. You really think I cared about your money? I hoped you didn't, he said softly. But I needed to prove it, not with promises, but with choices. She smiled through her tears. You idiot, he blinked. What? You didn't need to sell everything. You just needed to tell me you loved me. He looked at her, hope flickering in his eyes. Do you still? Yes, she whispered before he could finish. And then she kissed him. The kind of kiss that rewrites the past, forgives every wound, and fills every empty space left behind. Months later, Emily's place was busier than ever. A new sign hung above the counter. Hot beverage now serving coffee, dreams, and second chances. Alex worked there every morning, not as the billionaire he once was, but as Emily's partner, both in love and in life. He learned how to steam milk, fix the espresso machine, and even paint daily specials on the chalkboard in his messy handwriting. Sometimes customers would whisper, "Isn't that Alexander Carter, the billionaire?" And Emily would just smile and say,
No.
"That's just Alex, my favorite barista." One night, as they closed up, Emily leaned against the counter, watching him sweep the floor. You know, she teased, I never imagined the great Alexander Carter mopping floors. He grinned. You'd be surprised what I'm willing to do for good company. She walked over, wrapping her arms around him. So, what's next for us? He thought for a moment, then said, maybe we open a second cafe. Or travel. Or just keep making coffee together. She smiled. As long as it's with you. They turned off the lights, hand in hand, and stepped into the night. No limousines, no cameras, no chaos. Just two souls who had finally found peace in each other. As they walked away, the cafe sign flickered one last time before settling into a warm, steady glow. And somewhere in the soft hum of the city, the words, "My Secret Billionaire," became not a title, but a memory of how love found its way between two worlds that were never meant to meet.